You add weight, you grind through another set of squats. And still, nothing changes back there. It's not about effort, and it's certainly not your fault. Here's what nobody tells you. The squat is a thigh exercise. It hammers the front of your legs and barely touches the glutes. After 50, that small activation shrinks even further because your hips lose mobility and your body can't sink deep enough to reach the muscle. Which means you can load that bar for years and never wake these muscles up. In this video, I'll show you the 5 best exercises to target your glutes directly, at home, without a single squat. Your glute isn't one muscle, it's 3, and most training only ever reaches one of them. These 5 hit all of it. But first, you need to understand why they fell asleep. Without that, nothing else will work. The crossover step-up is the closest thing to a switch for a sleeping glute. You step onto a box, but not straight on. You cross the working leg in front of your body and drive up at an angle. That crossing motion is everything. Research on hip abductor activation shows that when you load the glute medius in a lengthened, crossed position, it fires significantly harder than in any straight plane movement. And because you're driving upward through a single leg, the glute maximus has to extend the hip under full body weight at the same time. 2 muscles, 1 movement. This isn't about building bigger legs. It's about restoring the muscles that keep your pelvis level every time your foot hits the ground. And yes, the medius fills out the hip from the side, and the maximus builds the lift and roundness you see from behind. Together, they're the difference between a flat, dropped backside and one that holds its shape. Here's what most men don't realize. They do regular step-ups and think they've covered it. The straight step-up is a solid exercise, but it's brutally easy to do wrong, and when you do, it quietly becomes another quad movement. Your knee drifts forward, your thigh swallows the load, and the glute barely wakes up. The crossover changes the geometry. Suddenly, the hip has to stabilize sideways while it extends. And that combination is exactly what your glutes were built for, and exactly what you stopped asking of them 30 years ago. Set it up like this. Find a step, a sturdy chair, or a bench between 12 and 16 inches high. Stand beside it, not in front of it. Cross your working leg in front of your body and plant it flat on the step. The whole foot, heel included, not the ball of your foot. Now drive through that foot and push your body up. Let your trailing leg come up to meet you on the step. Then reverse it. That same trailing leg steps back down first, to the side you came from. Your crossing leg follows it down and returns to where it started. Control the descent. 3 seconds down, every single rep. Week 1. 2 sets of 8 reps per leg, using a low step, 1 hand on a wall for balance. Week 2. 3 sets of 10 reps per leg, no hand support. Week 3. 3 sets of 12 reps per leg, now holding a kettlebell, a dumbbell, or a water jug in the opposite hand. That offset load forces the glute to fight sideways to keep you upright. If your balance falters, lower the box before you lower the standard. Every step you take is a single leg balancing act. Your glutes decide whether that's effortless or exhausting. Restore this pattern and stairs stop being an event. But the crossover only trains one direction of hip control. There's a second pattern your glutes have forgotten entirely, and it's the reason your knees ache when you walk downhill. The lateral walk looks like nothing. Someone shuffling sideways across a room with a rubber band around the knees. No sweat, no grunting, no impressive weight. And it's one of the most effective glute medius exercises ever measured. Electromyography studies consistently place banded lateral walking among the highest activation drills for the hip abductors, the muscles that stop your knee from caving inward every time you take a step. This isn't about strength you can show. It's about the strength that keeps your knees pointing where they should. It also builds that rounded shelf on the outer hip that separates a flat backside from a full one. But here's the problem. Almost every man does this wrong within 4 steps. He lets his knees drift together. He bounces from the toes. He rushes. And that's the whole failure right there. The moment your knees close in, the band goes slack, and slack band means 0 resistance. The glute stops working instantly. The exercise becomes a walk. You're not moving sideways to move sideways. You're moving sideways to resist the band pulling your knees together. That tension must be there on every single step, from the first to the last. Lose the tension, lose the exercise. Loop a resistance band just above your knees. Above, not around your ankles, that comes later. Push your knees apart until the band is tight and stays tight. Sink into a quarter squat, hips back, chest up, weight in your heels. Now pick a direction. If you're traveling to the right, your right foot moves first, that's your lead foot, and it steps out sideways, a full shoe length or more. Then your left foot, the trailing foot, follows in behind it, but only halfway. Never let your feet touch. Never let the knees close. When you reverse direction, the roles swap. The left foot leads, the right one trails. Your torso stays perfectly still, like you're carrying a full cup of coffee on your head. If your shoulders bob, you're using momentum instead of muscle. 10 steps one direction, 10 steps back. Week 1. 2 rounds of 10 steps each direction, light band, above the knees. Week 2. 3 rounds of 12 steps each direction, and hold a 2-second pause at the end of every 5th step. Week 3. 3 rounds of 15 steps each direction, band moved down to your ankles, or switch to a heavier band above the knees. If your outer hip is burning by step 8, you're doing it right. If your thighs are burning, you've sunk too low. The muscle you're waking here is the one that failed first. It's why your gait narrowed, why you stopped trusting uneven ground. Rebuild it, and your knees stop absorbing damage they were never designed to take. But lateral control is only half the picture. Your glutes have a third job, pure, raw hip extension. And there's one movement that isolates it better than anything else you can do on the floor. The donkey kick is the purest hip extension movement you can do without a single piece of equipment. You're on all fours, and you drive one heel toward the ceiling. That's it. No balance to manage, no load to stabilize, nothing to distract the muscle. And that's precisely the point. Every other exercise on this list asks the glute to share the work with something else. This one doesn't. The glute maximus extends the hip, and nothing else can do it for you. When a muscle has been dormant for 20 years, you don't hand it a complicated job. You give it one task and force it to remember how. Here's what almost everyone gets wrong. They kick high. They arch the lower back, throw the leg toward the ceiling, and celebrate the range of motion. But that height didn't come from the glute. It came from the spine. Your hip only extends so far, maybe 15 degrees past neutral. Everything beyond that is your lumbar spine compensating. So you feel it in your lower back, you feel nothing in your glute, and you conclude the exercise doesn't work. The exercise works. The arch is what's stealing it from you. Get on the floor, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Now brace. Pull your ribs down and squeeze your abs like someone's about to punch you. Your spine locks in a straight line from your skull to your tailbone, and it does not move for the rest of the set. Keep the working knee bent at 90 degrees. Now push the sole of your foot toward the ceiling. Push it like you're pressing a flat ceiling upward with your heel. Stop the instant your lower back wants to arch. That's your ceiling, and it's lower than you think. Squeeze hard at the top for 2 full seconds. Lower slowly. If you're doing this correctly, 10 reps will burn more than 50 done wrong. Week 1. 2 sets of 12 reps per leg. Body weight, focus entirely on the 2-second squeeze. Week 2. 3 sets of 15 reps per leg, and add a 2-second lowering phase on every rep. Week 3. 3 sets of 15 reps per leg with a resistance band looped around the working foot and anchored under both hands, or with a light ankle weight. If your back ever speaks, you've lost the brace. Stop and reset. This is the muscle that pushes you off the ground when you stand. It drives you forward when you walk, and it's the reason a strong man's stride looks effortless while a weak one's looks like a struggle. But the glute doesn't only work from the floor. It's strongest when it's lengthened under load. And that's where the hardest exercise on this list comes in. I know what you're thinking. I said no squats, and here's a squat. Read the name again. It's a split squat, and that split is the whole difference. Your back foot sits elevated behind you on a bench, which pulls the front hip into deep flexion. Your glute is stretched long before the movement even begins. And a muscle under stretch, loaded, produces far more force than a muscle working from a short position. Research on stretch-mediated hypertrophy shows exactly this. The exercises that load a muscle in its lengthened range build it faster than those that don't. This is single-leg strength, hip stability, and glute maximus development in one movement, and it's the reason the men who do it consistently look different from behind. Here's the trap. Almost everyone sets up too close to the bench. The front knee shoots forward over the toes, the weight rides on the ball of the foot, and the whole thing turns into a brutal quad exercise with a wobbling knee. Then they call it too hard on the joints and quit. The problem was never the exercise, it was 6 inches of foot placement. Move the front foot forward, shift the weight into the heel, and the same movement becomes one of the most glute-dominant things you can do standing up. Set your back foot on a bench, chair, or couch about knee height. Now walk the front foot out, far enough that when you drop down, your front shin stays close to vertical. That's the position almost nobody finds. Keep a slight forward lean in your torso, maybe 15 degrees. That lean isn't sloppy form, it's what shifts the load off the quad and into the hip. And you're not going straight down like a plank of wood falling over. You're going down and slightly back, hips traveling behind you as the chest tips forward. Descend slowly, 3 seconds, until your back knee hovers just above the floor. Drive up through the heel of your front foot, not the toe, the heel. At the top, squeeze the glute before you drop again. Your back leg is a kickstand. It balances. It does not push. Week 1. 2 sets of 6 reps per leg, body weight only, 1 hand on a wall or chair for balance. Week 2. 3 sets of 8 reps per leg, no hand support, 3-second descent on every rep. Week 3. 3 sets of 10 reps per leg, holding a dumbbell, a kettlebell, or a loaded backpack. If the depth hurts your back knee, raise the front foot onto a book. It gives you more range and keeps the knee off the floor. If your balance is gone by rep 4, your front foot is too close. Move it forward. This is the exercise that transfers directly into life. Standing from a low chair, climbing a steep stair, getting up off the floor without using your hands. But there's one thing missing from everything we've done so far. A movement that loads the glute at full contraction with your hips at the top of their range. That's the last piece. Everything so far has loaded the glute in the middle or the bottom of its range. The bridge loads it at the very top, at full hip extension, the exact position where the muscle is weakest and least practiced. You lie on your back, drive your hips upward, and the muscle contracts hard against nothing but the ceiling. Add a band above the knees, and you stack a second job on top of the first. The maximus extends while the medius fights the band, trying to pull your knees together. 2 glute functions, 1 movement, 0 impact on your spine or your knees. This is why physical therapists reach for it before anything else, and it's also why it delivers the roundest visible payoff of anything on this list. Here's what almost everyone misses. They think the goal is height, so they push the hips as high as possible and end up arching the lower back into a bridge that has nothing to do with the glutes. Your hamstrings take over, your lumbar spine hyperextends, and you finish the set with a tight lower back and a quiet backside. Height isn't the goal. Tension is the goal. And you can generate more tension at 3/4 height with a hard squeeze than at full height with a sagging, arched spine. Lie on your back, knees bent, feet flat, and about hip-width apart. Band just above the knees. Pull your heels in until your fingertips can just brush them. That distance matters, because feet too far away hands the work to your hamstrings. Now tuck your pelvis. Flatten your lower back against the floor before you lift anything. Press your knees outward against the band and keep them there. Drive through both heels and lift. Stop when your body makes a straight line from your knees to your shoulders, not higher. Squeeze the glutes for 3 seconds like you're trying to crack a walnut. Lower under control. Your ribs stay down, your chin stays tucked, your lower back never arches. Week 1. 2 sets of 15 reps. Light band, 3-second hold at the top. Week 2. 3 sets of 15 reps with a 5-second hold, then finish with a 30-second static hold at the top. Week 3. 3 sets of 12 single leg bridges per side, band still in place, other foot lifted off the floor. If your hamstrings cramp, your feet are too far from your body. If your lower back complains, you went too high. Do these 5 exercises 3 times a week and something changes that no mirror captures on day 1. You stand differently. Stairs stop announcing themselves. the chair stops requiring a plan. And then, somewhere in week 3, you catch a reflection and realize the shape came back too. 5 exercises. No barbell, no gym, no squat rack. The crossover step up, the lateral walk, the donkey kick, the Bulgarian split squat, the banded bridge. Between them, they cover every job your glutes were designed to do, and every job they've quietly stopped doing. So here's the question that actually matters. How many more years are you willing to give a muscle that only needs 3 sessions a week to come back? Start Monday. 3 days. Non-consecutive, 20 minutes. Follow the week 1 numbers exactly as written, and don't skip ahead. The progression is the point. 21 days from now, you'll know whether I was right. If this changed how you think about training after 50, subscribe and hit the bell. There's more coming, and none of it is what you've been told.
अहमद बेटा, चलो उठ जाओ।
मम्मा
हाँ
रात में